Welcome back, chums. New update for Cyberpunk 2077 and Phantom Liberty is out. So today, as always, we're gonna be covering patch 2.11, going through the biggest updates and changes, including a new feature for all of the Rayfield enjoyers. So first off, we're gonna be going through the biggest gameplay changes and features. They finally fixed melee finishers and they're now working properly after update 2.1. Those were broken and only thing you were actually getting when you initiate a finisher was basically a follow-up with the attack. There wasn't a proper animation, but testing it now, it absolutely works as intended. They fixed an issue where health items could become unequipped from quick access slot after using consumables. It will now be possible to properly switch Z and W keybinds for the AZERTY keyboards. When using the classic color scheme, performing dashes will no longer result in crouching. This is actually very nice, but it wasn't really a huge problem for me as I was doing this. They fixed an issue where it was still required to use the F key, the default one, to interact, even if it was bound to a different key. Binding the right mouse button to an action different than aiming will no longer result in aiming, and we have a new action occurring simultaneously, so this is very good. I know some people use that for some reason, and they told me this was a big problem. Also, axolotl cyberware will now also reduce cooldown when neutralizing an enemy non-lethally, so definitely a big plus for that if you are using this cyberware. The iconic Contagion quick hack will now properly cause an explosion when combined with the overheat quick hack or basically any burn damage. So if you're using a Netrunner build and if you combine Contagion with overheat, well, you're gonna be getting a very cool explosion, or basically the leakage of that toxicity combined with, the fire. They also added Psalm 11.6 and buzzsaw crafting specs for players who complete the required activities to acquire them, but they didn't drop, so this is a huge plus. They fixed an issue preventing players from upgrading items to tier 5++ on Xbox. Skeleton cyberware will no longer get downgraded after acquiring level 3 of the licensed Chrome perk. The skill shards for skills that are already maxed out will no longer drop, so if you're going for airdrops or something like that, or you're fighting different enemies, well, these skill shards are no longer dropping, and I know some people were complaining about it. The RAM cost for Cyberpsychosis quick hack will now properly decrease after applying malware malfunction or an EMP effect. Killing NPCs who are drunk or using a brain dance will now properly trigger the police system. They fixed an issue where RAM recoup cyberware was restoring less RAM than indicated by its description. I know something was wrong. I actually thought this was a problem maybe for me, maybe I read it wrong, but it seems this was actually a problem within the game. They fixed an issue where fists would no longer have a chance to apply bleeding after reaching level 20 in the solo skill. They fixed a description for biomonitor cyberware so it properly states that if it heals you when health drops below 50% rather than a 35%. So this is kind of cool because some people didn't know, so it's actually 50% now, so you can properly play if you're using this. It will now be possible to activate Sendevistan cyberware during holocalls if in combat. Nice. They fixed an issue where it was possible to get killed by a quick hack while Berserk is active, despite its feature ensuring that health cannot drop below 25%. Cyberware capacity will now be capped at 450. Cyberware exceeding the limit will be unequipped. So yeah, no more capping over 450. You gotta combine it properly now. I know this is going to be a problem for some overpowered builds, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be easy to navigate around it. They fixed an issue that could cause loot to float in the air as well as disappear in the same spot after picking it up. Now when it comes to quests and open world, there is a lot here, so let's go through it. Adjusted car chases so that they're no longer too frequent and don't overlap. But I'm going to be honest, even after updating to, 2.11, going into the game and then exiting my apartment, I was still getting attacked. But I don't really mind it considering how much damage I caused in Night City in general to all of those gangs, and especially Maelstrom and Voodoo Boys, so it's kinda cool, but they can definitely be a little bit annoying, especially after like 2.1 and 2.0. They fixed an issue where vehicles purchased on the Autofixer website weren't added to the owned vehicle list even though money was spent. And they made it possible to obtain the BFC 9000 iconic weapon for players who missed the crashed AV in Rancho Coronado. So basically, if you go to this location, which I'm showing you right now, and you go up to this little hill, now you can always use these little rocks on the side to get easier through it. You can just go around it if you want, or go from the top, but there's going to be a little guy here, and you fight him and you get the BFC 9000 weapon, which, yeah, iconic, definitely. They fixed an issue where the animation of expecting the end card city pass would be triggered inside an elevator, causing V to fall through it. Fixed an issue where the message from end card customer support that unlocks the metro wouldn't arrive, even if the requirements were met. I mean, the problem with this is that I had something similar to this, but I just skipped a few days and it arrived. They fixed some instances where gigs could remain stuck as incomplete in the journal without any objectives. Nice, so I can finally have this properly sorted. A day in the life. Fixed an issue where Daryl Zoo would instantly die after approaching the quest marker and speaking to him. Please note that the fix is not retroactive, meaning that you need to load a save prior to speaking to Daryl to be able to complete the quest. This is a bit of an issue if you already passed through the game too much, but yeah, this is the only way to do it. Belly of the Beast fixed an issue where it wasn't possible to exit the basilisk after entering the tunnel. Cyber Psycho sighting on deaf ears. They fixed an issue where it wasn't possible to collect the information required to progress because the shard wasn't present in the area. Don't lose your mind. They fixed an issue where after choosing to merge the Delamains, it wasn't possible to progress past the approach the car objective because the cab didn't spawn. Down on the street, they fixed an issue where Takemura wasn't present when arriving at Wakako's pachinko parlor. Now when it comes to gigs, bring me the head of Gustavo Horta. There were two fixes. First off, they fixed an issue where Gustavo would immediately become hostile after entering his office, and the second one, they fixed an issue where guards would immediately attack the player after picking the peaceful street kid dialogue option. So nice. I really want to stay at your house. This is basically a new feature added in 2.1 where your romantic interests can go into your apartment to hang out. They fixed an issue where it wasn't possible to sleep in V's apartment bed while the quest is active. Actually, I was wondering why this was happening when I was recording the gameplay yesterday for some other video, but it seems this was a problem and a bug after all. Psycho Killer improved the reward for neutralizing all cyber psychos. A player that already claimed the reward can visit Regina and collect the new reward from the weapon crate, so go and do it. Reported crime dredged up fixed an issue where the trail that must be scanned to progress could be missing. And Spellbound fixed an issue where the discounted price for spellbook could be higher than the full price. Now when it comes to Phantom Liberty specific quest and gigs fixed, this was actually solved. So Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos saw two fixes. First off, they fixed an issue where there was no objective in the journal entry because the objective to meet Reed at the abandoned hotel wouldn't appear. And the second one is that they fixed an issue where there were no dialogue options that would progress the quest when talking to Yoko. Firestarter fixed an issue where some weapons could become job items after retrieving from the locker. Hi-ho Silver Lining, every single time there is something with this quest. So they fixed an issue where it wasn't possible to talk to Mr. Hands in the Heavy Hearts Club because he wasn't interactable or did not spawn for the players who experienced this issue in 2.1. I actually think this was fixed in like 2.0, or well, it was fixed in a hotfix after 2.0 and then 2.1 broke it again, so this one is going to fix it again. Nice. Just Another Story fixed an issue where vehicle contracts weren't spawning in some cases. Things Done Changed fixed an issue where the screen could go black after calling the nurse for players who experienced this issue in 2.1. And they added the end credits message from Reed for ending other than the tower, so just keep that in mind if you're going for a new ending, or well, you're going for a different one, or you're just playing it for the first time, well, you're gonna be properly getting message from Reed as well. And also another weapons change, they removed the possibility of installing attachments on the Katahula iconic pistol. They fixed an issue where it was possible to activate the sensory protocol perk when it was on cooldown. They fixed an issue where it was possible to activate Synaptic Accelerator cyberware during its cooldown. I know I was using this a little bit as a bug and I kinda liked it because it was working well, but yeah, now it's gonna be on cooldown. It will now be required to have a cyberdeck installed to benefit from Cogito Latice cyberware. Ooh, Very nice, okay. And for the end, they fixed an issue where the buff after exploding an enemy with the detonate grenade quick hack didn't match the description. Now when it comes to UI, they added a radio port category in the settings, so just go to gameplay, on the settings to customize radio port behavior. Enable sync to vehicle radio to keep the music playing after exiting the vehicle. With cycle stations with button press, effortlessly switch between radio stations by simply pressing the radio port button without the need to open the radio menu. And enable the save current station to have the radio port resume playing the radio station upon loading a saved game. The data window that appears when scanning will no longer default to the hacking tab rather than data tab. This is kinda cool. Instead, it will now remember which tab was opened last. Finally, they also fixed an issue preventing players from changing cyberware at Ripper docks and seeing the cyberware capacity bar. Added a pop-up message for when it's not possible to activate Sendevistan during holocalls. Like the non-iconic variants, iconic quick hacks will no longer have the duration displayed in the description. And they made small improvements to the appearance of net sites. So if you go there, you can kind of see that UI has changed a bit, but they were not like huge changes in that sense. Now when it comes to visual changes and fixes, neon lit rims for the Yaiba Kusanagi CT3X will now light up properly. This was a problem since 2.1. They fixed shadows appearing on V's torso when wearing tank tops. Also, dark shadows appearing on V's hands when holding some weapons with ray tracing enabled is actually fixed now, so it's not going to be a problem anymore. And the Devil and the Judgment Tarot cards will now be properly displayed on the end game reward screen. Now when it comes to vehicles, there has been some changes, some adjustments to various vehicles, so let's go through this. First off, tire track marks will now match the actual contact patch of the tire, which is nice. Maybe they think pad here instead of patch, but I could be wrong. Adjusted the suspension movement of some traffic vehicles to improve it visually. Motorcycle suspension has now been improved to reduce visual clipping into roads and curbs. This is nice. Braking is also improved. Some vehicles, including cars and trucks, will now better handle landing from big jumps, especially if you're going for the big monster truck. It's actually a lot more enjoyable to drive now. Brake torque vectoring has been added to drive model simulation. This change effectively reduces the understeer on vehicles that previously used to suffer from it extensively when hard braking while turning, most noticeable on four-wheel drive and rear mid-engine vehicles. They returned or improved tuning in various vehicles. This include the Mizutani Hozuki MH1, MH2 and Hoseki, Villefort Deleon V400 and V410, Coupe and Vindicator, Thornton Colby CST40, Meyer Supron FS3T, Chevelon Centurion 1000, Quadratype 66 Hoon and more. They also implemented various small changes to improve drifting in most vehicles, so all-wheel drive vehicles will now apply power through their front differentials more smoothly when exiting burnout mode induced drifts. Check out our driving manual in the database for more info on these, but yeah, basically now it's gonna be a little better to not just, drift, but also exit from those drifts and return to normal speed. Dynamic stability management was adjusted to engage more smoothly after burnout mode drifts, exactly what I'm saying. Most mid-engine cars, burnout mode implementation has been polished to induce more easily and overall feel better, including the Rayfield Caliburn, Quadra Turbo R and the Herrera Riptide and etc. So I tried Caliburn a bit and it's definitely driving a little bit better when it comes to that. Now when it comes to the PC specific changes, they added a hybrid CPU utilization which can be found under gameplay performance. It can be either set to auto, so let's say the operating system automatically decides how you distribute threads among the cores, or prioritize P cores, prioritizes performance cores. It is set to auto by default, but you can change it basically. Implemented a fix that improves performance, especially on AMD RX Vega GPUs. And the big question is, when it comes to FSR 3, that's not yet included into the game, so right now FSR 2.1 is only available even after this patch 2.11. Now for the end, we have some very cool things. So first off, they added the CrystalCoat feature, which allows you to change vehicle paint color, but there is a catch. Because this technology was developed exclusively by Rayfield, it is currently only available for Rayfield vehicles you own. So once you go into Rayfield, like for example Caliburn, you either hold the left arrow on your controller or you hold the Y button. After that there is going to be a small pause, so it's going to open up the menu, and from there you can choose like from the hue and saturation and everything how you want your car to look. When you exit the vehicle, the actual color is going to disappear, but once you go back into it, the color is going to reappear again. Also, controller inner dead zone has been changed to new default values for players who didn't change them, as keeping the old default values could result in stick drift. And they fixed an issue where the door in the mega building H10 apartment wouldn't automatically close in some cases. When it comes to RedMod, they updated the address list for modders. So overall, as I said, patch 2.11 is pretty much, the hotfix in general for everything that they've released in update 2.0 and update 2.1. So far, majority of things which I've seen people talk about and, talk about in the comments and complain about those issues, I think are now fixed. But again, let me know down below in the comments, because, well, we're slowly and surely reaching the end when it comes to patch cycles for Cyberpunk. This could be the last patch, or maybe one of the last patches for the game, if not the one before the last, because I'm pretty sure there is going to be a hotfix maybe for some lingering issues which are still not fixed. Overall, I'm happy with the update. I do wish that, other cars as well have this option to change the actual color at least. It would be kind of cool, but yeah, right now it's only available for Rayfield vehicles, but just changing around it or working around it was pretty cool, and I never expected that this is actually going to be a feature that's going to be added. So thank you for watching. This is LKM signing out. Keep in mind that I will be covering all of the new changes which appear in the future if something does appear. But again, let me know down below how it is for you. Generally on GOG it was like a 4 GB download. On Steam it was a bit longer, I believe like 19 gigs, and on Xbox it's around 40 GB. I'm not sure how it is on PlayStation 5. I still have to basically update my PlayStation 5 to the latest version, so I'll check it out. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more, and join us on Twitter and Discord. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out. Stay classy everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.